What's going on, Boiler Nation? It's Thursday night, September 7th, 2023. Darn near a week ago since the 2023 season kicked off for the Purdue Boilermakers. And unfortunately, Webby got off on the wrong foot as the Boilermakers were upset at home by the Fresno State Bulldogs by a score of 39-35. Originally I was kind of bummed that we were waiting clear until Thursday, or had to wait clear until Thursday to talk about the game. But in hindsight, I'm glad we had to wait because now I feel like I've had plenty of time to review the game in my mind, and I'm not going to make any irrational, emotional reactions freshly after the game.
So are you saying, are you going to do the Knucklehead Central, like the season's over, fire the whole staff, kick everyone off the team because of one loss to a Group 5 team? Is that what you're saying?
I am not going to do that. I never was going to do that. I am not surprised at all by those takes out there, but I'm still disappointed in those takes out there. It's unbelievable to me how it seems like Purdue fans can be so more negative at times than positive.
After being and what's crazy is like go from just one extreme to the other. Like before the game, it was like the most positive thing. Everybody was excited. Like, the sky was the limit for this team. Like you didn't really know, no one had expectations, but it was like, hey, we could go 8-4. Who knows? But now it's like when one loss, it's, this team is a train wreck. We're never in the game. Might as well just blow up the newly renovated Ross-Ade.
I mean, I understand the frustrations. Of course, every Purdue fan would like to be 1-0. You don't want to lose your opener. You don't want to lose your opener at home. You don't want to lose your opener at home to a non-Power 5 conference team at that. But it's not like Fresno State's a pushover. I mean, they've won 10 games for the last 6 years. Looking at their schedule, they might do it again this year. And that might be one of the better offenses Purdue plays all year, even with the Big Ten teams they play. I mean, you got to give credit where credit was due to their quarterback. He played lights out. I thought Purdue did a decent job of getting to him at times, getting some pressure. I think we only had 1 or 2 sacks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
but
not many. Yeah, not many at all.
But we got him into a lot of hurries. It's just veteran experience had the moxie and made plays. Made plays. So, I mean, yes, there's a lot of disappointing things coming out of the game, but there's also some positives as well. Let's start with some of the positives. What were some of your positive takeaways from Saturday's loss?
An obvious one is Deion Burks. Coming to the game, we didn't really know. We had an idea like who our top receivers were going to be, just based off obviously depth chart and just kind of the talk of the off season. But I didn't expect a third play to break off an 80-yard touchdown. He essentially caught it, after a 10-yard. It was a short little throw, but then he took it the rest of the way. Bound tacklers and showed off that speed that we had heard about all off season. I think I saw a stat like he topped out like 20 miles an hour right down the field. So it's pretty incredible. What he had well over yards receiving all day, 2 touchdowns. So, I think we definitely kind of found one of our alpha receivers for sure. And then, Tyrone Tracy's with a kick return for a touchdown for the first time in 10 years. I can't remember I couldn't even tell you the last. I don't remember the last touchdown that we had or kickoff return. I know it was 2013, but I don't remember it at all.
It was Raheem Mostert had one at Penn State, and at that same year, Hakeem Hunt had one at home against Indiana State on a reverse. And in hindsight, if it wasn't for that, we would have lost to Indiana State and went winless in 2023 or 2013. Excuse me.
Yeah, so I thought special teams were pretty good outside of the initial kickoff having an offsides penalty on the very first.
I forgot about that.
First kickoff. But I thought special teams was, I feel like the whole Brom era, I felt like outside of maybe his first year when we'd run some, I thought special teams was pretty forgettable. Obviously we had some, big kicks, here or there, but like in terms of the return game, it was non-existent. Even with Charlie Jones back there, like and Rondale Moore, never really had much of anything. Have kick return for a touchdown already. One under the belt of Ryan Walters' era. I'll take it.
And TJ Sheffield, I think it ended up being a 29-yard return, but he had a good punt return as well. Caught it off a hop, and even that's something, like you said, we haven't had in a long time because our punt returners for the last 5 years or so have been more possession guys who can just fair catch the ball and not muff it, which is important too.
Yeah.
Got a comment here from Skip on Facebook. Think the defensive scheme was a little bit of a letdown. Yeah, and interior O-line, yikes. Need Hudson to spread the ball more. And Stanford cornerback transferred to play. An upset and tough place might amp our mojo for Orange. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the scheme, I guess it was a letdown to the fact that, again, we had nothing to go off of, other than Bird. But yeah, if anything, going into this game, I thought, I thought we might struggle to score points, if anything, and their defense would be solid. It'd be a 24-21 game type of thing, or maybe even less than that. But I think we learned why this is a pretty tough defense to learn, and it's not going to be turned over overnight. I kept going back to the fact that this is the first game that you guys have played against someone else besides their own team, all off season. So there's bound to be some hiccups. There's definitely, I haven't seen this scheme like that before with, I didn't even realize that Thieneman was so far off the line of scrimmage. I knew he was far back there, but I just never really paid attention to really how far back he was. But there was definitely some things that weren't great, but also, part of that, is obviously, again, I think I saw someone say that it looked like the team was thinking too much, which I understand with the scheme like that. It's probably going to happen. You just need the guys to play, but that's going to take time. But also, I think Keene was their quarterback. He just made some really good
Micah
throws.
Keene. Mm-hmm.
On the run, even when there was some tight coverage, he just made some really good throws, which you have to kind of just tip your cap to him on that. But yeah, there were a few things here and there that definitely wasn't great. The third downs obviously was
both sides.
Both sides was disappointing. I think it was Walters on his radio show said that, before 17 third down, which is, you should say some good things about how, we first and second down we were pretty solid, but the fact that they converted 11 of them,
11 for 17,
that's not great.
And on the flip side, Purdue was 3 for 12.
Yeah. So third down all around, not great.
No.
But again, it's game one. Hopefully we see that improvement from game 1 to game 2, like we hopefully do.
Another positive, and you talked about him a little bit playing so far off the ball, was Thieneman couldn't have had a better debut as a Boilermaker. 10 tackles, 1 interception, which was a key interception, and one of those tackles was lighting up a guy on punt coverage. He got the Big Ten Freshman of the Week, which first time a Purdue defender has won that in quite a while. So off to a good start for number 31 there in the backfield.
Yeah, coming into the last couple of weeks, I wasn't sure I'd heard much about him. I was actually a little worried. I was like, man, I was excited that he was, had committed back when he did, and I enjoyed watching his brothers play, but I was a little worried with all these, defensive back commits to the 24 class and the transfers. I was like, man, is he going to get, lost in the shuffle? And all of a sudden I was like, no, he's going to start. I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
And he looked good too. He looked really good.
Did.
And
yes,
he looked the part. I was like, man, a freshman back there at safety, is he gonna look like little giants out there? But no, he looked solid.
And I hate saying this. I hate when I have to do this. I hate putting a player's performance in the negative category, especially somebody on defense when I have to point them out. But Cam Allen's got to play better. He had a rough Saturday, and they were picking on him a little bit, picking on him to the point where, and it wasn't all his fault all the time, but picking on him to the point where Eric Brooks had 9 receptions for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. The average yardage per reception was 18.9. So can't let that happen. They were just picking on poor Cam, and Cam had a tough day tackling too, which we've seen that a lot in his career as a Boilermaker. So
yeah,
hopefully it's just
we had quite a few. Snoozy Kane started with some tackles and just kind of all around. Yeah, it was a little sloppy. Nick Scorden struggled too at times making some tackles. So, yeah. But he picked on, and even I don't know if it was the scheme or just what they ran was great, but there was a couple times. I think it was one of the touchdowns. OC Brothers got matched up to a slot guy, and it was he had no chance. He had zero chance.
Yep.
But yeah, the backfield was. There was some good play. Not Wilson, the other guy.
Marcavius Brown.
Yeah, I thought he played. He
had 9 tackles.
He had 9 tackles. I thought Wilson played pretty well. Those in that scheme, it sounds like the corners are going to be man to man a lot. So it's important that they cover the guy, but also tackle him, because there's a lot of green in front of them if they miss it. I thought they played pretty well, but I was just more from the safety position wasn't great on Cam Allen, but which is disappointing given he's a holdover from the previous staff. I like Cam last year, and he's like a 6-year guy, so you expect a little bit more.
Yep. I mean, we're giving him some criticism, hoping it turns around for him, because we're going to be pulling for him. It's not that we're not fans of Cam Allen. It's just it was a little noticeable. He had not his best performance Saturday, and hopefully it's an outlier, and he has a great next 11 games or next 12 games, should we say? We play a bowl game. So, what do you think of Hudson Card's debut as a Boilermaker? Because I know what I thought when I stepped outside of Ross State after the game, but online, for the most part, Knucklehead Central had a different opinion than me.
I mean, I liked him. I thought he played pretty well. I mean, I
did too.
I thought he played like okay to good. I was shocked to see his completion percentage was as low as it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
tied to low of his career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, barely over 50%. I don't remember being like, oh man, he's just not hitting. I don't know if it was just drop passes or what. Great deep ball he had. Was it the Burks or was it? Yeah, it was a great deep ball. I know his pass, when Burks his first touchdown, it was a little high, and Burks reeled it in. But like I feel like he had one throw where it was like, ooh, that should have been picked off. But other than that, like I didn't really think he had any like bad throws. I guess the only like gripe I guess you could see, which I saw online, was like that he didn't run more. Which again, I don't know if that's he's being told that, because if he goes down, it's over. So it's like, because he looked really good running the ball. I mean, we're used to seeing AOC last couple of years run the ball, and he's a bit more left foot than AOC.
Yes.
But there's a couple times. There was one towards the end of the game where it was like a crucial third down, and he had like 6 yards in front of him, and he opted to throw it away essentially. So that was really the only like thing. But again, I don't know if that's just like, again, first game, like trying to get a grasp of like what's going on. Like, but other than that, I enjoyed watching him play. I thought he played pretty good for the most part. Didn't interception, which I was huge. The fact that we went through a whole game without, turning the ball over, I thought that was some pretty good attention to detail and discipline.
Yeah, he was clean with the football. I thought that was a huge takeaway. 17 for 30 for 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. Average completion was yardage over completion was 8.5. His QBR was 66.4. So there is some things to build on. Maybe field vision can get a little better. Decision making, like you said, when to run, when not to run. RPOs cleaned that up a little bit. It seemed like the exchange a few times between him and Mockbee, or he and Tracy or Downing, or whoever it was, wasn't always the cleanest, but that's just get more repetitions and more practice. He's one, I'm glad we have an experienced guy behind center. Experience in that he's not a freshman or a sophomore that's never played. Yes, he hasn't started a bunch of games, but he's played in a lot of big environments, because going into Lane Stadium this Saturday, it's not the biggest stadium, but it is a stadium that will get rocking, and they just announced 4 hours ago it is a sellout.
Oh, it is? I didn't see that.
Yes, Virginia Tech announced that about 4 hours ago that it is now a sellout. So I'm glad we have a guy behind center that shouldn't be too rattled going into that type of environment. Another takeaway I had, I want to see Mockbee used more. I think he kind of got in the doghouse a little bit by putting the ball on the ground early, even though Purdue didn't lose that fumble. They were able to recover it. But he ended up with 16 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown, but he got 20 of those yards on one carry. 3 receptions for 16 yards, can't read my own computer. I'd like to see him used a little more as a receiver out of the backfield. In Tracy, I mean, he did have a touchdown. He's 3 rushes for 3 yards, Downing 5 rushes for 17 yards. But I think you got to give Mockbee 20 carries a game. I think you just have to. He's that important, and he's probably Purdue's best running back they've had since Corey Sheets. So
I'd agree. Yeah, there was you kind of saw what I think once he kind of got warmed up, that's when he kind of started to break out some of those longer runs. And I mean, he's best when he gets outside the tackles. It's tough to, especially just with our own line, and tough to get him going right up the gut, essentially. Because we didn't have success with that at all at any point in the day, it seemed like. But yeah, I'd like to see more touches for the mock train.
And the interior offensive line did struggle, especially in the run game. But the line overall in the pass game, I mean, Hudson was hurried a couple times, but he was kept clean. Never, the Fresno State's defense never got a sack. But hopefully it'll help having the backup center. His name's escaping me right now.
Kalkbrenner.
Colton Brenner.
I was looking at basketball, so I got Kalkbrenner from Creighton on my head.
Well, because Austin Johnson was the third string center.
Yep.
And he went out due to injury. So we were down to our fourth string center at one time on Saturday, which that never helps. So getting at least your backup center back, I think that's going to be a big improvement for the offensive line on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. That was probably the biggest disappointment, was just not being able to. Or just part of it too is just like the play calling at times.
Yeah.
With Harrell was the fact it took us 7 tries to get in the end zone.
Yeah.
Was a bit of a this is not good.
Yeah. It's hard telling when when's Walters making decisions, when's the staff making decisions. But one I wish Purdue could have back was not just running the clock out at the end of the first half and going into halftime with a touchdown lead. Instead, they tried some passes, go 3 and out. Fresno State gets the ball, ends up kicking a 50-yard field goal to make it a 4-point game.
Because they didn't really seem like they were going to call a timeout until it was we're going to get the ball back, so we should.
Right.
Yeah. So that was.
Right.
Yeah, that was a little frustrating, but again, new staff are aggressive, which it is what it is. But that and the fact that we missed a field goal in the second half, that means 6-point swing right there.
Yep, that would have made a 14-point game at the time, and maybe that's the difference right there.
Right.
So, because I was feeling good when we were up 11 points.
Yep.
Just couldn't put them away. That happens a lot. You let a scrappy team hang around, and usually doesn't end well. But going back to the decision to not run out the clock in the first half, I just chalked that up as a first-year head coach. Not only that, first game ever as head coach mistake. And hopefully he learns from that, and I'm sure he will. That's not going to be the only mistake. And we're going to have a lot of ups and downs as far as a first-year head coach goes. You got to be patient. And one thing I keep reminding myself, Jeff Brom and Joe Tiller both lost their first game at Purdue and ended up.
That's the thing. It's just with the way that fans were acting, it's you're like.
But it wasn't a home game, Evan. It wasn't a home game. They was at Toledo in neutral.
In our lifetime, we've seen one coach win their first game, and it didn't turn out. It was okay. Loved him,
great guy, but no, it wasn't the best tenure for the Hopester.
I guess had Purdue pulled this one out at the end, maybe not give up a touchdown, would you have felt super great about it, or would you be kind of similar to how you kind of feel it now, just maybe just obviously slightly happier?
The latter there. Still a lot to work on and clean up, but hey, 1-0 is better than 0-1.
Right.
And I think a lot of people's panic is on paper, it looks like the road to 6 that Purdue needs to go at least 3-2 this month. That just got a lot more difficult. But hey, our guest last week, Kylie, she predicted Purdue to start 0-2 and finish the season 8-4. So she could be on to something.
She's on track.
She could be on to something. I would like to see the tight ends get involved more. Max
we're down to our third string,
which he had 2 catches for 22 yards, but it sounds like Paul Pafari's got to be a few weeks out with a back injury. Garrett Miller did kind of go through some practices a little bit this week, so there's a slight chance he plays Saturday, but I still think we see him make his debut next Saturday night against Syracuse. But that's just a guess on I hope we have him, because I think he'd be huge in the red zone, particularly. But I am feeling more optimistic now about Saturday's game than I was earlier this week. I'm starting to get myself talked into it a little bit.
Yeah. I didn't watch much of the game against Old Dominion.
I watched a little bit.
I wasn't super impressed. That's maybe what gives me some hope. They're not the Virginia Tech of even just a few years ago. It's not at night, so that's a good thing from an environment standpoint.
Yes.
Jealous everybody gets to see Enter Sandman in person. No, that'd be cool.
They started that tradition, I guess, in 2000.
Did they? Okay.
And that's when Virginia Tech was really, really. I mean, they were national runner-ups in, I believe, '99 to Florida State. So,
okay.
Yeah, so that's when Virginia Tech was really, really good. But yeah, I was reading an article earlier today, and they thought Purdue would win if Virginia Tech doesn't. They basically said why Purdue will win. It says Virginia Tech doesn't have Fresno State's passing game. It says Purdue's in rebuild mode under new head coach Ryan Walters. Even with all the changes and all the things it has to go through, it still almost pulled out a tough win last week before giving in late to the Bulldogs. Said Hudson Card was good. Offensive line did a nice job keeping them clean. And it was a good game and a tough loss between those two teams at the same level. So Virginia Tech got by Old Dominion 36-17, but the run defense struggled a bit. The offense was just okay, and it got by partly because of the pass rush that lived behind the Monarchs line. The Purdue offensive front should be able to hold its own, however. And then it says why Virginia Tech will win. Purdue offense will be shut down if the Hokies can get into the backfield like they did against ODU. Purdue's ground game was just okay. Third down conversions weren't there, and time of possession should matter. Virginia Tech might not have been amazing, but it had the ball for almost 34 minutes. Purdue had the ball for just 24 minutes in week one. Win the third down battle, win the turnover margin. Virginia Tech was +3, and be patient, do all the little things right, and this should work out for the Hokies. So
I guess my work, I heard this on the Walter show. It was like, I guess it's supposed to be a chance of thunderstorms. So it's like,
really?
It's just like I think it's like 80% chance of thunderstorms. At least yesterday, who knows how it can change. But, if it is like, and all that includes, rain and all that kind of stuff, that's the case. Like, how does, we're going to have to run the ball.
Yep.
But this isn't a Jeff Brom team, so hopefully it's a little better than the rain. Then.
Oh, man. Yes. And that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up. And I want to say again, I'm always going to be thankful for what Jeff Brom and staff did to this program, because they recovered a dumpster fire and turned them into a competitive football program again, and won the Big Ten West in 2022. But people forget the stinkers he had too.
Oh, yeah.
And you said Eastern Michigan. Right off the top of my head. I mean, there was others at Nevada, even though that wasn't in the rain, but that, oh my gosh.
That was a choke job. That was a choke job.
It was. And speaking of that, I hope we never schedule a Mountain West team again. We are 1-3 all time against the Mountain West. So
yep.
The schedule makers a while back did Purdue no favors. A loss at Hawaii, a win at home to Nevada, a loss at Nevada, and then now I lost at home to Fresno State, which I don't think this was a 1-1 series. I think this was just a one-off, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I think so, because Hawaii was a one-off. They never came to Ross-Ade. So
we paid Fresno State enough money. I hope it's I hope we're not going back there.
$1.35 million.
Yeah.
Which I read Ball State's getting paid $1.6 to go at Georgia this week.
Good for that.
Yeah. Yeah, might
just come out healthy. Just come out healthy.
Oh man, nothing like playing TRC Three Rivers Conference for Northern Indiana football fans style one year, and then you're going as a freshman and playing against the back-to-back defending national champions in between the hedges. But anyways, that's a podcast for another day. But this is Purdue's second game in a home-and-home series against Virginia Tech. The last time these two teams met was September 19th, 2015, which the Hokies won by a final score of 51-24. And the only bright spot for Purdue that day was a long scoop and score by Danny Awichiku. Besides that, it was one of many games to forget between the years 2013 to 2016 of Purdue football.
Why did I think it was Jalen Robinson? Did he have a scoop and score at one point?
I think he did, but I know it was Danny E against Virginia Tech.
Okay.
That day. So
I saw the highlights of it. I thought it was Jalen. I didn't even really pay attention to what the number was, but
yep.
Yeah, that was my last semester in school, and my God, that was awful.
I'm
assuming it was at the game. I'm not sure. I assume it was at the game. I'm not really sure, but a lot of that was forgettable.
97% of it was forgettable. Even some of the 9 wins were forgettable in the 4-year span there. But confident this will be a lot better game than that one was. I do have to say I have to give my wife a shout out on the podcast because she wanted me to do this because she does listen, and if not I will get in trouble. But she wanted everybody to know that she did call the interception of Dylan Thingman's and then also the touchdown after that. So
she did.
She really needs to start predicting positive things more often. And she wants to
the Final Four run.
Yes, that is my goal for basketball for her. I'm gonna get her to do that on our preseason basketball preview. Um, and she wants to be let known she thinks that people are being too hard on Ryan Walters because overall Purdue did not play that bad. Just a few plays here and there were the difference. So it's got to clean up the defense, she said. So all right, now that that's taken care of, how are you feeling going on Saturday?
I'm good. Like, I mean, I don't really know what to expect. Kind of how, obviously, it was a lot more excited for this past weekend, just for being first game of the season, all that. I don't really know a whole lot about Virginia Tech, but like, I don't feel like I'm not worried, but also I'm just kind of like I just want to see improvement. I'd like to see things cleaned up on the defensive side. Not so many, especially on the third down aspect of the game. Like to see Hudson slinging a bit more. You see Mockby get a few more touches. I'm feeling good. I'm excited.
Yep.
First road tests. I'm really excited to see what unis we bring out for that.
Yeah,
game.
we haven't seen that. That should be released tomorrow, I would think, right?
Well, I think
they used to do it on Thursdays, right?
Yeah, someone said that they released it they made the announcement, official announcement on Saturday. So it's like, are they going to do it on Saturday morning? Which is a lot different than in the past where they would do it, on Thursdays, leading up to the game.
We got to get the white throwback from 2000, right?
I hope so.
I mean,
we wore it. I forgot we wore it like a handful of years ago, for some throwback game.
My freshman year, 2010, against Minnesota. It was the Robin. You were down with me as a senior,
as a prospective student. Yes.
Yeah, because they had the Rose Bowl patch and the Rose Bowl helmets.
That's game. Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
We won that game, but nobody cared.
We did. No one cared.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. But yeah, I would think we'll get something similar to that. Let's see here. We got a comment on YouTube here from Ted Berkey. He says it will take time to learn the new systems. There will be growing pains for this team and the coaches. No idea what will happen week to week. Very well said. Very well said. And that's what makes it exciting, but yet nerve-wracking every week. But, the coaches are still hot on the recruiting trail. Got a 3-star defensive lineman recruit from Kentucky today. So they keep building things behind the scenes there and just now got to find ways to win some ball games. Stadium looked great.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say stadium looked great. That was one positive takeaway.
Yeah, the south end zone looked way better than I expected it to look. Obviously, you've seen all the pictures and all that. But it just made it seem much more intimate. I love seeing kind of the soccer style seating, like on the sides, in between the south end zone and like on the would have been the east side. I saw some people saying that there's like a little like kind of like bar area. I think on our side, would be the southwest side. There's I think tables you can sit at, or I'm assuming you have to reserve and all that. But yeah, it looked really cool. I know there's some just because I get from where we sit, on the by the stadium, and towards the end zone, we're like right on the goal line. It was a bit harder to hear.
Sure.
But, I also saw people saying well, yeah, that's how it was for us who sitting in on the opposite end of the stadium last year, they couldn't hear the band as well or the students as well. So it probably need to mic it a little bit better. But again, other than that, I thought it was really cool. Students showed out, which was awesome. Even if it was pretty stupid hot outside.
It was warm.
But yeah, stadium looked great. I missed the entrance for the Tiller Tunnel, unfortunately.
Me too.
But it looked really cool.
It's got to look really cool at night too, I think.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see that for the Syracuse game. But did you listen to Walter's show?
I did not. I reposted to our accounts, but I meant to do that today and didn't get around to it.
Yeah, I guess how else would he sound? But he sounds like he's totally confident and he's just yeah, we got stuff to work on. What do you
can't panic.
That's not a finished product. First week, not only after having these guys on campus together for a handful of weeks / months. So
yep.
Yeah, I'm not ready to abandon anytime soon.
No, I can't panic yet. Too early. And if we go into Blacksburg and pull off upset, which I think we are. Let me see what the line. I know it opened up.
Yeah, I saw some people say we were dogs. Some people say we were favored. So I was curious to see what.
I remember Sunday when I saw it. We were 1-point dog. We are. Let me see here. 3-point dogs. 3-point dogs.
Okay.
With the over under 48.5 points total. So pretty low scoring over under there. Mm-hmm. Games at noon on ESPN2.
Back on ESPN.
Back on the ESPN. the only time this year. So hey, we did fine on ESPN noon games last year a couple times. So hopefully that mojo has stayed with this current Boilermaker team. But yeah, no, I feel a lot more optimistic. I guess, are you ready to predict a game before we get into other games? Or
do it.
In my season preview, I had this one chalked up as a loss. Even on Monday on another podcast I had this chalked up as a loss, even though I thought it'd be close. It's Thursday and I've talked myself into a close win. Now I gotta think of a score.
I'm going 24-21 just because I think the weather is going to be an issue. So I think it's going to be a little bit more low scoring than what we saw this past week. So I'm going 24-21 Boilers.
I'm going to go similar, kind of around there, but I'm going to go 27-17.
Ooh,
Purdue.
Okay.
Yeah, Purdue has a big fourth quarter and stretches it out a little bit. So, and my MVP, let's go Nick Scordon this week. Gets the quarterback a couple times.
I'll go with Maccabee.
I like it.
My guy. Just again, playing off, thinking the weather, like, I have to go to the ground game a bit more. He gets his first triple digits of the season.
I like it. That'd be huge. If he does that, I like Purdue's chances a whole lot. Other games around the Big Ten, we got 2 Friday night games tomorrow. First one's in Bloomington with the Indiana State Sycamores, 0-1, traveling to the 0-1 Indiana Hoosiers, whose defense looked all right last week, but their offense was pretty putrid.
Did you know neither of these teams scored a touchdown last week?
I didn't even look at who Indiana State played or anything.
Indiana State got shut out 27-0 against Eastern Illinois at home.
Oh, boy. It's not going to be a good year down in Terre Haute, I don't think.
No,
Hoosiers get this one done pretty easily.
Yeah, I think it's not even a contest. I hope it is, but it's not going to be.
If they were to lose, Tom Allen better just pack his bags now. Just leave. 1-0 Illinois fighting Illini. They found a way to get it done against Toledo. A heck of a 4th-and-4 conversion. Yeah. They kind of had no business winning that game at the end, but they found a way. They traveled to Lawrence, Kansas to take on the 1-0 Jayhawks. That place will be rocking. Jayhawks are 3-point favorites in this one.
Kansas is breaking out the blackout uniforms. I'm going to go with the home team, Jayhawks. Is also a preview of a scrimmage for the basketball team they're going to have in October.
Oh, really?
Illinois, they're doing kind of what Purdue and Arkansas are doing, where they're raising money. I think Illinois and Kansas are doing it for Hawaii. I think they're doing a fundraiser, but it's going to be in Illinois. They might sell that thing out. I don't see why they wouldn't.
That makes sense.
Pretty sweet, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going with Kansas.
I'm going Rock Chalk Jayhawk as well. I don't know if they use that for football or not, but they should. If not, I think Illinois might be a little more talented than Kansas, but it's gonna be. I mean, that's gonna be a tough.
Their quarterback looked good. He made some good throws. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yep. This one will have some eyes of the college football world because it's the big noon game on Fox, of course. That's Nebraska at number 22 Colorado.
Colorado got ranked? Wow.
Of course they did. It's Coach Prime, which that's the biggest thing that bugs me. I mean he's going to have fans and naysayers, and what they did at TCU was pretty darn impressive. I'm not going to lie.
I could also see TCU going like 4-8, 5-7.
Yeah. But just the fact that he calls himself Coach Prime instead of Coach Sanders just rubs me the wrong way, and seeing on the low third and everything. But Colorado's a 2.5-point favorite. This is one when I did my preseason predictions. I had Nebraska winning, but and I'm actually kind of hoping Nebraska goes in there and wins just to shake it up, because I think Nebraska will take about 10 to 15,000 fans probably in there.
Oh yeah,
it's an old time rivalry, Big 8 and Big 12 rivalry. But I am picking Colorado to win this game.
Yeah, it was the Nebraska Minnesota game, and it was tough to watch.
Yeah.
But I think, that place is going to be electric.
Yeah.
When's the last time Colorado was even decent in football?
It's been 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be cool. I mean, it's a really cool campus, really cool stadium. Just
Yep.
the fact that it's like in the mountains. But yeah, I think Colorado gets it done. Hopefully, I mean, hoping for a good game. But
I mean, it really wouldn't shock me for Matt Rule and the Cornhuskers to go in there and
oh no, I
pull
think
the
Matt
upset.
Rule's a good coach. Yeah.
He's a good coach, and that would really humble, I think, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're probably on cloud nine right now, and the reason for all the Purdue fans listening and people that don't understand my Denver Bronco allegiance, I follow a lot of Broncos and Denver sports accounts on my Twitter. Yes, I'm calling it Twitter. I'm not calling it X on my Twitter. So all I was seeing Saturday afternoon and night was things about Colorado. I couldn't even find Purdue stuff on my feed. I had to go to the Boiler Breakdown account to see Purdue stuff. And I could have muted Colorado, but then that would have taken other things away that I wanted to see. So that's why I am rooting against Colorado pretty big time this year. So feel good to get that off my chest. These next two games we don't even really need to pick. Delaware at Penn State, Youngstown State at Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean Ohio State. I didn't watch the game against Indiana. I kind of was like following it and listened to it a little bit because I was driving. It doesn't like
The
they were all that
quarterbacks could not get it going.
Yeah, and I mean, is that them? Is that Indiana's defense? Could be a little bit of both. It's like their defense was pretty good. Yeah, I don't. I mean, as of right, I mean, one game overreaction. I think they're third in the Big Ten East right now. As of like, if you were to ask me how to rank, I probably would have put them maybe second, a week ago. But after just kind of hearing what's going on and how it went, I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. barely even touched the ball, which again, I don't know if that's credit to.
He did get banged up, but he came back in the game. So.
Okay. But I mean, I don't know this. I'm not seeing the spread on the ESPN app on this.
No, there's no spread on either Delaware, Penn State, or Youngstown State. Ohio
but I mean, Penn State was impressive. I think they roll, and then I think Ohio State wins pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I think both of them roll. This next game should be a pretty good game, rivalry game. Iowa at Iowa State. Iowa's a 3.5-point favorite.
Bigger question is, does Iowa score enough to get back to their average of 25 points a game that they need to keep old Brian Ferentz?
Oh, boy.
I'll take Iowa.
Yep.
In a close one.
I do as well. I think Campbell should have left a few years ago for Iowa State. And
he had his window.
It's kind of like David Shaw at Stanford, who's not there anymore. You kind of have your window, and they don't go, and doesn't end well for him. So. Then we have Northwestern Wildcats hosting the UTEP Miners, and Northwestern is a 1.5-point dog.
Northwestern's still riding that U.S. soil losing streak from last year.
I mean, we're talking about a UTEP team that lost at Jacksonville State and then beat Incarnate Word last week, but only by 2 touchdowns. And they're 1.5-point favorites. It's a Big Ten team.
Incarnate Word had a football team.
I didn't either.
I mean, proven otherwise, UTEP.
I'm going with Northwestern. If they don't win this game, they're not winning the game this year.
I agree.
UNLV 37.5-point dogs at Michigan.
I mean,
Dad Mooney on Facebook with the "Let's Go Miners." Dad lives down there in El Paso, so
okay.
He's got a number 2 team to root for there.
There you go. Does Michigan cover? I don't know. That's a lot of points to cover.
That is a lot of points.
I'm gonna say they win, but they win by like 30, not 37.5.
Blake Corum goes nuts. They bench and McCarthy. They bench the starters, and then
they get up by like 28, and then they just kind of coast, kind of like Auburn against Purdue in the Music City Bowl,
or LSU last year. Oh boy. Richmond at Michigan State. I don't have a line on this game.
I don't either.
So Michigan State should roll.
Yeah, who did Michigan State beat last week?
Central Michigan.
Okay.
It was close through a half, like it normally is whenever they play them. Then they pulled away.
Ooh, they got Washington next week at home.
Yeah, okay. Peacock game next week.
It's a clock game. Okay, that's besides the point. That's weird.
Charlotte at Maryland. Maryland 24.5-point favorites.
I mean, Maryland beat
too much speed
last week. Yeah, too much speed. Yeah, they roll.
Temple at Rutgers. Rutgers 8.5-point favorites due to Scarlet Knights start off 2-0.
Yes, but they don't cover, I'm going to say.
I like
Just
that.
because.
I like that.
Yeah.
Eastern Michigan at the Fighting Boat Rowers. Minnesota's 20.5-point favorites, and I think they win pretty easily.
Yeah, I think they have a little better showing than they did this past week.
And lastly,
they've had to prepare too. They played on Thursday last week.
Yes. Yep.
So they've had quite a bit of time to get better.
And Eastern Michigan beat Howard by 10 last week. So, Eastern Michigan. They've got the better of us in football and basketball in our lifetime. That's embarrassing.
Yep.
Number 19, Wisconsin, 6-point favorites on the road out in Washington against Washington State.
See, Wisconsin was in a bit of a little bit of a close game with Buffalo last week, and they eventually pulled it out. Man, I want to pick Washington State.
I'm going to Cougars. I'll do it. I'm going to Cougars.
Honor Mike Leach. We're going Cougs.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough traveling, even though I do think that stuff doesn't mean as much as it used to.
No.
Teams like Fresno State last week tried to get there a day earlier than normal now to get their bodies used to it. And these are 18 to 22-year-old kids for the most part. Their bodies adjust a lot better than 30-some and 40-some, 50-some, 60-some years old. So, all right, let's go do a couple top 25 teams. We'll start with number 10, Notre Dame, 2-0 not ranked, at 1-0 NC State.
Notre Dame's 7.5-point favorites. I mean, Notre Dame I know it was Navy, but they looked pretty good in that game. I didn't obviously get a chance to really watch their game this past week, but I know they
it was against Tennessee State.
Yeah,
so.
I think Notre Dame covers. I think
Notre Dame is 7.5-point favorite.
Yep, I think they won by 10 to 14.
This is NC State's home opener. They won by 10 at UConn last Thursday night, I believe it was. I think it's a close one. I'm going to say Notre Dame wins, but doesn't cover.
Okay.
Doesn't cover. So I think it's a touchdown or less. A lot of these are going to be blowouts, so I'm skipping a lot of them. Number 23, Texas A&M travels to 1-0 Miami, Florida. Miami was running a buy one, get one free ticket special for this game. I wish I was making that up.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable.
Where is it? Okay.
I'll go A&M. I'll
go A&M. Yeah. They're so weird.
This is just it's a weird sports city, to be honest.
Yeah.
Probably the game of the day, number 20, Ole Miss, 7.5-point favorites at number 24, Tulane.
Lane train, baby.
Yep, I think Ole Miss gets it done.
No mustard thrown at them, though.
No mustard. Number 13, Oregon, 6.5-point favorites travels to Lubbock to take on 0-1 Texas Tech that lost at Wyoming last week.
I'll go Oregon just because I don't know.
Yep.
But yeah, Texas.
Yep.
Lost to the
Bo
Cowboys.
Nix will play well.
Mm-hmm.
I take it back with the game of the week comment. I forgot about this game, and this is a game day game. Number 11, Texas at number 3, Alabama. And Alabama's a 7-point favorite. Kind of forgot about that one. Oops.
I don't know much about either team, to be honestly. Like, as much as I like Washington State, I really haven't been keeping up. I know, obviously, Texas. I mean, the storyline of this season was they got Arch Manning, but
he's not even starting though. Quinn Ewers,
right?
Is the starter.
Yeah. Is he? I think he's even redshirting this year. Like, I'm not even sure he's even.
It would be smart if they did because their quarterback room is loaded.
Right, which is how we got Hunter.
Yep. He played in this game last year, actually.
At home, the place will be rocking. And Bama's. I mean, what they didn't make the playoff last year. Did they make it the year before?
Yes. I want to say.
Was it Georgia championship game? Was 2 years ago?
It might have been. I am so bad year to year with college football anymore. I think it was. Let me see. I think it was Georgia, Alabama.
My point was like, Bama hasn't been out on top for a couple of years now, thanks to Georgia. So I think they're out to prove a point.
Yes, Georgia beat them 33-18.
Because I think did Alabama or Georgia win the SEC championship that year? It had to have been Georgia, I would think.
I think Georgia's. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So they had to be in like twice within a month.
I have Texas as one of my 4 playoff teams, but I think Alabama beats them this week.
Yeah.
Then they run the table. Then they go. Then they don't lose a game until the playoffs. So
yeah.
Yeah, all the rest don't have lines or just aren't good lines. So, week 2 should be better than week 1 as a college football fan. Mm-hmm. And NFL season started tonight. The game is underway right now. Detroit at Kansas City. So, hopefully all the NFL Boilers, which there is quite a few this year. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they all have good seasons. I even saw 2 of them on new teams practice squads that I wasn't aware of till this morning. David Blau was back with the Lions on their practice squad, and Xander Horvath is with the Steelers now instead of the Chargers.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Get him out of the AFC West. So.
How'd they let him go? I didn't know that.
I don't know. He was on their roster all year last year and had a couple touchdowns. Yeah. But he feels like a Steeler. The way he plays football.
Yeah,
so
100%, yeah.
If he gets on the roster eventually and plays well, now he's with Corey Trice, who unfortunately is out for the year with a banged up knee. But it was nice to see a lot of the Boilers that got drafted. All of them made the team, Jalen Graham included, who was 7th round pick. So,
looks like a second quarter getting ready to start. Detroit's up 7-0, but Kansas City's driving.
Let's go Lions! I know you hate hearing that, but I know we're at conflict here. But I would be surprised if the Lions win. But it's week 1. It's the NFL. You never know.
You never know.
Any final thoughts, Webby, in regards to Saturday's game, Purdue football in general, Purdue sports in general, anything going on?
I mean, it's an exciting time. Obviously, yesterday was a huge disappointment. I wasn't really all that mad because I think deep down,
I wasn't either.
It was like this was going to be a tough game, tough opponent. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Fresno State runs the table. I wouldn't be surprised if we can look at the end of the season. They're 10-2, 11.
Their schedule's not too hard.
No,
looking at it.
I mean, they're on a 9-game winning streak as it is. Didn't realize that was the coach who made Aaron Rodgers what he was in college. Which made a lot of sense after watching that quarterback play. I think it really showed how much experience matters in coaching too. It's not just about the players. Like, I mean, you're talking a guy who had coached, 160 plus games versus his staff who was, in their first game altogether. But I mean, I'm still really excited looking to see, biggest thing for me this year is just seeing improvement. I know if we don't make a bowl, it's, it's whatever. But basically just seeing, I don't want to see what we saw, just a handful of years ago with the Hazel era of like we're just not competitive. And if we're competitive and we come up short, then it's just things to learn. Hopefully we can. But I'm still really excited for things to come.
Yep, I'm just happy to have Purdue sports back in my life. Mm-hmm. It's always a long break from the end of basketball season to start a football season. And I'm like you, I just want to see improvement, and I want to see Hudson Card become the guy going forward in the next couple of years because he has 3 years eligibility remaining, I believe, and want to see him become the guys to where Purdue can have some, not always, what am I looking for? Some stability. There we go.
Yeah.
At the quarterback position, so they're not always going in
really
with
nice
quarterback race.
It'd be really nice to go into next year going like there's no chance that it's anyone but a Hudson Card. Like, even with the talented guys we got coming in, like, I'd love for it to be like Hudson. It is Hudson Card's job, by a wide margin.
Yep, absolutely. Before we close and before we thank our sponsors, I want to get one bold prediction from you for Saturday's game or a spicy take, either or.
Ooh.
It could be a play that's going to happen. It could be a performance by a player. It could be a statistic.
I'm gonna say the Boilers force 3 turnovers.
I like Purdue's chances if that happens. I like Purdue's chances a lot if that happens.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't want to use a return one now because I don't see us returning a kick for a touchdown 2 weeks in a row. Kind of like I could go on Diva. You went on Diva side of the ball, so I could say like a pick six, but I'm gonna go offensive side. What do I want to say here? Purdue runs a trick play for a touchdown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be a double pass or a reverse, something tricky, something tricky. Yep. So. But with that said, let's thank our sponsors. We have two great sponsors back on board this year for the Boiler Breakdown podcast, and one of them is Mad Mushroom. Mad Mushroom has been serving Boilermakers since 1993. They're located in the heart of West Lafayette, and they're known as the home of the original cheese stick. But whenever Evan and I and Andrew, we can't forget Andrew, who we're missing tonight. Whenever we like to go there, we like to sit down, have an ice cold beer while trying out their latest pizza of the month, which this month, their pizza for September is Rob's Bourbon Chicken. It's a pizza topped with lots of chicken, tossed in bourbon sauce, onions, celery, mozzarella cheese, and finished with toasted sesame seeds. It looks pretty good there on the graphics, so everybody that's not watching on our YouTube channel, Facebook channel, or Twitter channel and listening to the podcast, you need to go see a picture of that because it looks pretty good. So,
pretty sure they were giving out for like free cheese sticks.
They were yesterday.
Yeah, I saw some
from like 3 to 7. So,
dang it!
If you missed out on that deal, I'm sorry, but don't worry. You can order plenty of cheese sticks, pizza, wings, grinders, beer, whatever you want. And if you order more than $20 worth of food or drinks, you use the promo code BREAK5 for $5 off your order. And you can use that online with the online code, like I just said, BREAK5, or you can just let them know in person that Boiler Breakdown sent you. They'll give you that discount as well. Check out them online at madmushroom.com. Mad Mushroom, feed your head. And Evan, you have a good-looking shirt on.
Thank you.
I have a good-looking shirt on tonight. Where did we get these shirts from?
We got these from the shop, Tanner. Boiler Breakdown is brought to you by the shop for the 3rd year in a row. Happy to have them back on board. Shop's been bringing sports and hometown apparel to fans since 2011. From the humble beginnings in garages and basements, you can find them at their 2 retail stores and online. They make comfortable shirts. It makes everybody happy. The shop's located.
Makes me happy.
It makes me very happy. Located in Carmel and Indianapolis, as well as online at theshopindy.com. Make the best shirts, period. Next time you're shopping online, use code BREAKDOWN for 25% off your entire order. They're always running specials. They're always doing free shipping, 50% off your first order. But 15 is less than 25%. So go ahead and use that code.
Yep. And if you're thinking, I got plenty of boiler gear, I don't need any more. You can never have enough. 2, they do carry other teams. If you have a spouse, a friend, another family member that is unfortunately a Hoosier, or maybe they're a Cardinal or a Tiger or a Bulldog, or is it Wabash the Giants?
Yes, Little Giants.
Little Giants. Oh, that's awesome. Little Giants. Or if they're Colts fans, Pacer fans, race fans, fans of the state of Indiana.
Indy 11. Yeah, Indy 11 soccer.
Soccer fans, whatever they may be, the shop's got you covered. Go check them out online or one of their 2 retail stores, like Evan mentioned. I've only been to the to one of their locations, the one in Carmel, but it is a very nice one.
Were you wearing one of their hats on Saturday, Tan?
I was.
I should have because my forehead got fried.
Yes, it's a very comfortable hat. I should have broke it out for tonight's, but it wasn't up here in my office, so I didn't. I'm too lazy to go downstairs and grab it. So it will make an appearance next week. I'm promising next week. So, well, Evan, unless you have anything else, let's boiler up, hammer down, and beat the Hokies.
Boiler up.